And ready and welcome to What We Watch When We Drink, a Booze Dancing Entertainment Network podcast featuring lively discussions about movies, TV shows, and anything else that we're watching while we drink our favorite boozy beverages. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Audible, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can also find us on boozdancing.com. And if you have any questions, comments, show or drink suggestions, email us at boozdancing@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
The Booze Dancing Entertainment Network is live on the 363rd night of 2023. Maybe we should rebrand to like Booze Dancing 363 just for tonight.
Okay.
I think that's an idea.
I like that. I like that.
What we watch when we drink, also known as Booze Dancing 363, this night only. How's that?
That sounds good. I like it.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
We are good. We are good. We are doing a special end of the year live broadcast on all those places you saw in the video. Plus, we could possibly be on Instagram. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
The control room is going over it right now. They're plugging things in. They've got magnets and they've got diodes and they've got slide rules, and they are trying to get us live on Instagram. So we're checking. Welcome again to the What We Watch. Actually, you know what? This is different tonight. This is what we watched when we drank. Because we're looking back a little bit, right? We're the unofficial podcast of record for the calendar industry. Puppies yawning, cats stretching, bridges falling, Hawaii, rainbows, sunsets, lawns of England, SI swimsuit models, Snoopyisms, churches of England, farmhouses of Middle America. There's a calendar for everything. And it's time to get that 2024 calendar, get a thumbtack and pop it on the wall, because Monday is 2024. Yay! Happy New Year.
Oh my God. How'd that happen?
I don't know. 2023 just flew by like a what? Like a Tesla.
Like a fart in the
I
wind.
have no good. Oh, sure.
Okay.
That's good.
You like that? You like that? It's
That's
not,
good. Yeah.
not classy, but that's okay. Neither are we.
So what we're doing tonight, we are going to be talking about our favorite shows of TV shows of the year. And while we do that, we are going to be talking about and drinking some whiskeys that we had during the year. Yeah, and we're just going to hang out. And if you'd like, you can drop comments in the chat on Facebook and in where else ever you can put the YouTube.
Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter.
You can chat in there.
And
right?
maybe Instagram. Maybe.
And maybe we'll see all those things and we might respond. We'll see. We might just be chatting to ourselves and respond to each other. That's all.
That's okay. We usually talk to ourselves, but at least this time there's two of us. So we're talking to each other. That's okay.
And if you have your own whiskey, please get it out and drink with us. And if you have a television, turn it off. Watch us instead. Okay. So please. What my good friend Angelo did for me, for us, was he came up with this spreadsheet, which you got from the Watch, I believe, from the Ringer.
The Watch Facebook group. And there's someone out there that creates the Baranski's list for 2023, which is all the shows. And then they have all the ranks. I think they ask anybody that's in the group to go through the list and rank their shows, and then they compile the whole list and, top ranked shows and all that stuff. And we could share that too if you want later, if we have time.
And the Watch is a podcast on the Ringer website, from the Ringer. Correct. And which we both love, with
Chris Ryan and Andy
Chris
Greenwald.
Ryan, thank you. And we just think they look at television really in a fun way and in-depth way, and we like them. And we aspire to be them.
And most important of all, they're Philly guys, so it's cool.
Yeah, well, they're Philly guys, and now they're LA guys, so we both have a joint connection to them, right?
Perfect. See, they're our guys.
Perfecto. So why don't we start with a whiskey? Why don't we start talking some whiskey? I've got a bunch here. I don't know what you got there. I know you got an Irish coffee.
Yes, I made myself a little drink. I made myself the great Dead Rabbit Irish coffee,
Oh, look at you.
which is just
Name drop. Name drop.
It's so good.
Mwah.
It's so good.
Mwah.
But the
Mwah.
beauty of it is you can make it at home, and it is really easy, and it's just delicious.
No, very nice.
Would you like the recipe?
Sure. What is the recipe?
Okay, so it's
They're actually a Food Network channel also.
That's right. That's right. We're on there too. So it's a half to 3/4 of an ounce of Demerara syrup. I went with 3/4. Ounce and a half of Irish whiskey. I used Powers. 3 ounces of coffee, and then shaken to a just kind of runny consistency, heavy whipped cream, no sugar, and then top it off with a little bit of clove. Top it off with clove.
Well, you had me going there until you got to the coffee part. So, because I don't like coffee. But...
Nutmeg.
Okay.
Nutmeg. Okay.
All right. Well, I am going to start with I'm going to start kind of slow. The Locklear R Barley single malt, which we had. I think we did that. I think we tasted on one of our episodes with from via Impex, our friends at Impex, Sam Filmus and Chris Udi. This is a 46% ABV single malt from England, and this is I'm sorry, from Scotland, and it is from our friend John Campbell, formerly from Lefroy.
Yes,
so
correct.
Cheers to that, and cheers to you, Ange. To
cheers to
very
you.
Happy New Year.
Cheers. I
Cheers.
can't really clink, but I'll clink it.
That's okay.
That was
that was a good. That
was not good. Whatever. That was a thud. That was a thud.
All right.
Clink.
So we have a lot of TV here.
We do.
It was a. I would looking at the list that you sent, and then we both kind of pared it down and looked at what we liked the best. And excuse me, it was a good year for TV. It was a really solid, great year of really good television. And I'm just looking at my list here kind of quickly. I see a fair amount of Apple TV Plus, a few Netflix, some Hulus, and a few other things. So it's kind of scattered. I'm surprised. And of course, nothing on it from any network. The big three.
Actually, let me filter on this list.
You might have a couple big threes.
There's an ABC. There's a couple. You know what? Let me go to the big three. So let's just see how many shows are actually ABC, CBS, and what's the other one?
NBC.
NBC. Yeah,
the National Broadcasting Corporation.
I rarely watch network, so I don't even know. You know what? I don't even see it on here, which is weird. But okay, nothing. There's of this list. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 7 shows.
You know what that means? We are a streaming world.
Yes, we are.
We're a streaming
world. We really
world.
are. And what's funny is of these shows that they have listed on this list as ABC or CBS, one happens to be 2 seasons of Survivor, and another one was a season of The Amazing Race and The Golden Bachelor. So it's a lot of like reality TV shows.
TV.
The only scripted shows on this that made this list that I guess were new was Abbott Elementary season 2 and The Wonder Years season 2.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. Now we know there's other shows that would come on the network, but that didn't make this big list.
Right.
Okay, so you just want to throw some names out, talks about some shows as we're not going to really. How do you want to do this?
Well, I mean, let me just tell you what I have here. So the list was 213 shows was on this list. Of the 213, I went through to see which ones I actually watched. I watched 22 of them. And there were 1, 2, 3, there's about 6 on the list that I wanted to watch, but either don't have the service yet or just haven't gotten around to it. So, and I kind of broke it down. Of the 23, I just kind of gave them like a letter grade, anywhere from an A+ to an F. I mean, that's not where they came out, but that's the scale I was using.
Yep.
So
I
don't know.
took the list and pared it down to the things I only watched. I probably missed a few, and it was now. And some of these things I only watched an episode or two.
Right.
So it's some things shouldn't probably be on this list in completely. Which was there's actually a fair amount of those. 54 shows, and some are like one-offs, and then I pared it down to a top 10, and then there's about of those 54. 34 of them got ranked. So what, 33 of them are like my honorable mentions, or 23 of them are my honorable mentions. And then there's 10 top 10.
Okay.
So I really, looking at that 34 items, I really liked all of those shows for some reason or not.
Right.
I'm gonna, like, for instance, The Crown is on my list. It's one of those honorable mentions. Now, the season 6, which I actually just finished recently, and it wasn't that I loved The Crown, but I loved the performances of The Crown.
I get it.
I don't even remember some of the stuff. I don't even remember in reality. I don't remember the whole Princess Diana stuff too much.
Right.
But I really just loved seeing Jonathan Pryce as Prince Philip. The guy is just amazing.
He is.
Who's the guy from
The
who
Wire?
plays Prince Charles? Yeah,
Dominic
what's
West?
his name? Dominic West. He is great.
McNulty.
And just the McNulty, the performance is just great. I just love it. Just watching them, and that was, so it's not really a great show for me, but it's a great show of performances. So that's kind of the, I want to look at these things in lots of different ways.
Okay.
Give me one of your honorable mentions.
Well, all right. So like I said,
B's or C's.
There were 22 that I watched. I mean, that I think I watched it. Well, actually, I'm sorry. There is one show on the list that I didn't finish completely. I'm in the middle of watching now, but we'll get to that. But there's 22. My C of the 22 was Justified City Primeval, because I think ultimately it was kind of disappointing. Yeah, I think it started off good, and then I don't know, it just kind of lost its way. It was just all over the place, and I didn't care. I didn't see enough Oliphant. There was too much of the other characters.
I was kind of the same belief, and you told me that you don't have to watched the whole series, the whole prior series, and I only watched season 1 of the original series. And yeah, it was very contained. I didn't have to know anything more about his background.
No.
But I agree with you. I love Timothy Oliphant. I wish he was in it more.
Yep.
It was fun at times, but it was a cops and robbers show, and it was okay. It didn't make my honorable mentions at all. So I wish it did.
One thing that's interesting about the show, the guy who produced when it was on FX before, the first 6-season run or 5-season run.
Yep.
I think it was Graham Yost.
That sounds familiar.
Who also did Sneaky Pete and a few other shows. He might have done The Americans too, but he was not on this one, City Primeval. He was not the producer for this one. But you know what he was the producer of?
Wow.
Or one of the producers of Slow Horses.
Ooh. So with that transition,
maybe he had a commitment over there, and he lent his skills to that fine show
elsewhere.
Yes.
Well, since maybe we do this kind of a checkerboard thing. So you just mentioned Slow Horses.
Yes.
And that for me, the numbers really don't mean anything, but I had it as number 4 on my list.
Okay.
It's on we should mention it's on Apple TV Plus, Apple Plus,
right.
whatever.
And season 3 just wrapped up on the last episode of season 3 dropped on Wednesday.
Right. And we have both watched it.
Correct.
It is so fun.
I agree.
So good. So British.
Mm-hmm.
And we both like British things. I just enjoyed it. I think I was on this a little bit before you were on season 1.
You were.
And Gary Oldman, right?
Yep. Gary Oldman is tremendous. It's probably, I'm thinking it's one of his best roles ever.
He's so good as
And
this
he's having so much
disheveled
fun.
MI5 agent who has been sort of kicked to the side by Scotland Yard and then or MI5, and then is now like running some nothing kind of department that has
It's where
a
failed
bunch of
spies go to die.
failed spies, yeah, and that, but they get themselves in each 3 seasons into some pretty heavy duty espionage caper to save the world. and it's really done well. I mean, it's really done well. And his little team of people are all, it was like 6 people, maybe
Yes.
6, 7 people. And they're great.
The whole cast is
They're
great.
great character. And then the head of it, one of the head of MI5 is what's the
Kristen Scott Thomas.
Kristen Costa.
Well, she's not the top. She might be now, but I mean, well, whatever. She has various
Right.
iterations of the show.
Yes.
But she's one of the top dogs.
And she sort of runs from afar the slow horses, which actually is a
I don't know, a play on
a mean name for where they are actually located. Slough House. So, but they're called slow horse because they've got all the problems and they're allegedly not real smart, and et cetera, et cetera. So I just think it's just so well done as a government spy drama show with humor, with
a lot of humor.
A lot of humor, a lot of tongue in cheek, a lot of looking at government in a very twisted way. And just the performances are very good too.
Oh, they are. I mean, just Gary Oldman and Kristen Scott Thomas, and again, Jonathan Pryce pops in every once in a while.
And Jonathan Pryce, that's right. He plays.
The guy's fantastic.
Yeah, he is. He is. You know, he was in. You take a Jonathan Pryce detour here for a moment. I know you didn't watch Game of Thrones, but he was in Game of Thrones for the last, I want to say 2 seasons, maybe 3.
Okay.
And he plays this like oracle, weird kind of like a priest almost. And he's just great in that. He just is gold, you know? And he, as Prince Philip, he's so good. He plays this, I don't know how old Jonathan Pryce really is, but I'm guessing he's in his 80s, 70s, maybe.
He's got to be. I mean, how long ago was Brazil? That was probably
Brazil was in the yeah. So yeah, he's got to be in his 70s at least. But he plays older people very, very well, very well. And he's just kind of, I don't know. He just takes up the screen in a very sedate way. So nice. So Slow Horses. So maybe it kind of leads me to another show.
Go ahead.
Foreign. That I think you watched this season. I'm not sure. The season 3 on Netflix is Lupin.
Oh yeah, I watched it.
Yep. Lupin is another fun one is French, and it's a French show and it's in French about a jewel thief.
Yeah, I guess artist, jewel thief,
con artist. Yeah,
a little bit of everything.
Who is a master of disguises, and he's based his whole life on a series of books based on the character Lupin.
Yes,
and
Lupin.
And he's got a teenage son and an ex-wife, and this season actually connected to the prior season. It wasn't a separate.
Well, I think they've all connected, right? They've all kind of been building on the
little bit, yeah, right.
Yeah, and don't forget his best friend and the dog, Jacques.
That's right, Jacques.
We love the dog.
And he's running afar from the law, trying to be, and he's more of like a Robin Hood character.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
yes, he robs from the rich and gives to the poor, or
and keeps a little bit for himself too.
Keeps a little himself. Yep.
Yeah, keeps.
Yep. And this one gets more into his own background this season. It's another show, and it's all in Paris, right?
Yes.
I believe it's filmed in Paris. So you're seeing the gritty streets of Paris, and you're seeing lots of cool stuff on motorbike and in car and on foot. It's really pretty, and it's just another fun caper show.
Yep. And what's the lead actor's name?
Oh, I don't know.
Omar Sy. I think it's
Oh,
Omar.
Omar Sy. That's right. S-I,
That
right?
guy's
Or
got so
S-Y.
much charisma. It's unbelievable.
He does. And his character plays a master of disguises, and he does that so well. He becomes those things that he dresses up as. He becomes the cleaning guy in the museum, or
The basketball coach.
the basketball coach, whatever it is. He becomes that guy.
He's a
so
chameleon.
well. He's a chameleon, and
He's brilliant.
that's
He's
how he
absolutely
does
right.
his thing.
And he's like 15 steps ahead all the time.
15 steps ahead of his family, of the police, of everyone, the bad guys. He's just, but there's some problems along the way too. It's not perfect.
No,
Yep.
no, it was a fun show. I didn't quite give
Yeah.
it an A, but I gave it a B plus, just for pure fun, because it was a little bit of a diminishing returns. It gets a little bit like after a while, it's like, oh, come on, really? Like, really?
Well, I think
it's a little ludicrous.
we've talked about this, that some of these caper shows, it's the formula, right? And
Yep.
it's the same formula every season. And they have to kind of up the ante a little bit with a little bit more chases and, bombs going on or whatever. So you're right. After a while, it does get a little, old. I still enjoyed it though.
Oh yeah, so did I. But like Money Heist, after like the third season, it was like, okay, come on, really?
My problem is I'm a completist, so I have to
Yeah.
watch it all the way through, right?
Oh, you're a complete something, all right.
I am totally. I'm a complete ad. In fact, I just saw.
You're a
I
loony.
just think I saw that there's going to be Netflix is working on Is that Netflix? Must be Netflix. That's where Money Heist was from, right? They're
Yeah.
doing a Korean one.
Really?
There's gonna be a Korean version of Money Heist, or
Okay.
Korean, because Korean Netflix is big now too for
Fascinating.
the Squid Games.
Yep. Well, and Korean cinema's been taken off too.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
with all the films that have been out between what was the one from a couple years ago, the one that won the Best
Parasite.
Picture? and there's a few others. So,
which we should mention,
cool stuff.
that one actor in Parasite who was just found dead in his car
yeah.
a few years ago. Yeah, pretty weird, wacky.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a couple shows here that were imports, UK and France. Where do you want to go now? Where are you going?
I don't know.
Throw your magic dart onto the big list.
Let me put something on that maybe is like doesn't get a whole lot of fanfare, but it's pretty well respected and liked. Somebody Somewhere.
Somebody Somewhere.
That's a really good. And I know we've talked about it before.
We have.
And
it's on my runner-up list, but it's really good, very good.
It's great. And I think one of the main characters, I can't think of the actor's name, the one who played her father, he passed away last year, right?
Yep.
But they never acknowledged it in the show, and they just made it like he was away on a fishing trip with his buddies or whatever it was. And it was just kind of nice the way they did it, as opposed to being all sappy or whatever. They managed to, find a way to make it a little bit more interesting this year. It wasn't as good as first season, but I still really liked it.
Yep. What is the lead's name? What's her name?
I can't think of her name now. I'll find it. I'll find it somewhere. I don't want to start
so
around.
Quickly. It's a small town show in Manhattan, Kansas, and right. And
Yes.
she the lead character
Everett Everett.
Catherine?
No, we'll get there.
No.
Keep going. I'll look for it.
She comes back to town. She's taking care of her parents who have a farm and they're older. Her mom has a drinking problem. Her dad's trying to manage this farm by himself, basically. Her sister has a small little gift shop in town, and she was the perfect daughter. And our lead is kind of, she wants to be more in life, but she hasn't really gotten there yet. And she's probably a 30-something, right? A late 30-something?
Maybe 40s. Probably
maybe 40.
Yeah.
And non-married. Her best friend is an interesting character that she went to high school with or elementary school with, and they kind of reconnect and they become best friends and kind of manage all of their headaches together, but they're not romantic. And it's just small town life and trying to deal with aging parents and family and small town stuff.
Yep.
It's just
It's quiet. It's sweet. It's
it's
warm.
quiet
It's pretty hilarious too.
and
It's
it's
really,
very
really good.
funny. Right?
It's very fun. Oh,
He-
Bridget Everett is her name.
Bridget Everett. I think
And she's a hell of a singer, by the way. Hell of
and
a
she's
singer.
a hell of a singer, which is part of the show. She actually
Yes.
has a singing background in the show. But never pursued it, and probably regrets that. And she actually sings in a
A
she
choir,
sings a
like
few
a church
times in the
choir.
show, church choir. So you've got it's a very vibrant cast. You got
Yes.
people from all colors and orientations and backgrounds. It's a really, like you said, it's a really sweet show, and I
Yes.
liked how you said it's quiet. It's not out there in your face. It's very quiet. There's some sad moments. There's a lot of funny moments. It's a nice, warm show that you can just
Heartfelt. Could
oh,
you say it's heartfelt?
heartfelt.
It
Yeah,
feels like it
definitely.
feels real. It feels sincere. It's just a
It
really good
does.
show.
Yeah,
It's just a really,
totally. I
really
agree
good
with you.
show.
I agree
Yeah.
with you. How's your drink? How's your coffee?
Oh, it's gone. It was good. It's
It's
delicious.
gone.
It's
Then you better
gone.
refill.
I
Refill.
will. I will. I will.
You're-
We'll get to that. We'll get
Alright.
to a little bit more. I got something
Okay.
special lined up for not special, but something, hard to find. And it was someone shared their whiskey with me. So which is
Okay.
nice.
Okay, so we did
Okay, so somebody, where else you got? What else you got there?
okay. Maybe I'll throw let's go with a big one
Okay.
because it was in my top 10. I know it's in your top 2
Yeah.
or something. Let's say Succession.
Yeah, Succession for me is just so damn good. I mean, I gave it an A plus just because I thought it ended really well.
Yep.
What I loved about the ending was
We should add. Let me add.
Yeah.
This was Succession season 4
Yes.
on
HBO.
HBO, and it was the end of the series.
Yes, correct. It was the season. It was the
the
the series finale.
Finales, right? Series ending. The whole season was
Yeah.
the last season. Yep.
Yep. What I loved great. I mean, besides the fact that it's it's both funny and just so well written and so well plotted that they didn't. What do you want to say? Like there were little details from season 1, and they didn't let it go. They just didn't kick it to the they didn't kick it to the curb, and you knew it was going to come back and bite somebody in the ass, and it did. And it was just really, really good, because they could have easily just kind of let it go, but they never did. And it was always hanging over the show. And finally, it comes out at the end, and it was pretty explosive, I thought. The ending was superb.
It was really one of those great finales of television, series finales of television. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you can do it. It should be easier to do than it used to be. When you had seasons of 39 episodes, or 22 episodes, even for network TV, come the 70s and 80s. There wasn't a lot of, let's connect it all together.
Right.
Right. Now, television is 6 episodes, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, it can be pretty long. 10 is usually about the most you're going to see in a season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was 4 seasons?
Yes.
Right? 4 seasons.
It was 4.
So there was 40 episodes, give or take, right?
Right.
You probably can remember most of those episodes as a viewer.
Yes.
And I think on the writing side, it's much easier to connect all the dots because it's a shorter story.
Right.
Right. It's not 200 episodes. It's 40 episodes. And you can tell this story from beginning to end and make it really feel like a story. It's not disjointed. You might have ups and downs in a season, which I think Succession definitely went through. But you can connect episode 1 to episode 40. And they did.
Yes.
They really did. Right.
Oh, it was tremendous. It was just really, really good. I mean, everything about it. The acting, the storyline, even some of the moves they made. I mean, they did some pretty ballsy moves.
Well, I think one of the ballsy moves, and you see this a lot on, I think now, is you bring in like high profile
Actors.
added characters,
Right.
high profile actors and actresses to be a one-off character for one season. Adam Brody. Who else? Who else
Adrian
was in
Brody.
there? Adrian Brody.
Adam Brody's somebody else.
Well, you're right. Adrian Brody. And who else was one of those kinds of guys?
They brought in Holly Hunter. They
Hunter.
They just had a lot of. I can't think of them. Michael Cherry Jones was an episode.
Cherry Jones, right? Yes. So I think they did that very well, and where they're not like, you're not overwhelmed by that person being in the series. Right. That person became that character, and they were like larger than all the other characters. You don't want them bigger than any of the main characters. Sometimes you watch a show, especially a drama, and you think, who's this story about? Who's really the story about? And I think when from the very beginning, you think the story is maybe about Dad. It's about, what's his name?
Kendall?
Logan. No, Logan.
Oh, Logan Roy.
Logan Roy.
Yeah, Brian Cox.
The matriarch, right? It's all about him and all about his life. He's a patriarch, right? Yeah. But then as the series goes on, maybe it's about his kids. Maybe it's really the Kendall story, or maybe it's really the Siobhan story. Maybe it's really the Roman story.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's someone else. And I think they did a good job.
It could be the Tom story.
Well, and maybe it really was the Tom story. And I think they did a good job of letting you in, thinking you're thinking of that it is about one of those 3 or 4 people, and then maybe turning it on you a little bit and making you think about, who is this really about? Yeah. I think they do that. That's great. That's great storytelling.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I thought it was just really, really well done. I mean, it was beautiful to watch. Again, beautifully acted. The cast was tremendous. There was nobody that was bad in that show. Everybody was
and good. It was very funny. The humor is really great. Yeah. It's very caustic. It's very dark. It's very mean. It's it's very
British.
In a lot of ways, it is very British. You're right.
It's very British. I mean, all the showrunners are British.
Yeah, and as I said, one of the things that I didn't like about the show is I didn't like the way the dialogue is, the speaking tone of the Roy family, because they all speak like his father, which is in this very short phrases and lots of uhs and ems, and it drove me insane. I think the show would be half as long if they just took out all those pauses. And
but the funny thing is, it's probably written. I mean, it's definitely written like that. I don't think they're
I'm sure it is.
At all.
Yeah, they speak like their father spoke, right? Yeah. And that's how he spoke. But it was a great show, and it ended great. I think this season was and a show that also got out got out when it should have, and didn't stay too long.
Yep.
It didn't. It didn't.
Go ahead.
No, it didn't. It didn't overstay its welcome.
Right, but that's also a very British thing too.
Yeah,
like they know when to end the show. It's just, okay, we're done. We've said what we have to say. It's the Ricky Gervais model. It's like, okay, 2 seasons of The Office, we're done.
Right. Well, and also it's about brevity, right? Brevity, and there's shows in the UK that are like Luther. There were series that 4 shows, 4 episodes. We're gone. Right. We're done. Yeah. We don't need a 20 episodes.
Be efficient. Why not?
No, be efficient. Maybe we'll go to a different. Oh, I'm sorry. You pick one now. So
okay. All right. What else we got here? What else we got?
Here
we go.
Well, while you're thinking, let me just let everybody know again. This is Booze Dancing Entertainment Network. We are doing the 360 Booze Dancing 363, our year-end wrap-up about television and about whiskey. And we are live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and probably Instagram. Maybe Instagram. We're not sure. We don't know.
I can't figure it out.
And we are just happy that I don't even know what episode this is this season for us, but we've had a great year, and we just want to kind of get together one last time in 2023 and talk about all the great television we saw during the season, and drink some
Yeah.
whiskey as well, right?
Yes.
And
Well, you
and
know what?
it'll be, and you're gonna make this a podcast in a few weeks too, right?
Yeah.
That you can download. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If we don't and our way out of it, I can get it out pretty fast.
There you go. I won't talk over you.
No, it's okay. The better we are, the faster it comes out.
That's
So,
right.
yeah. You know what? Why don't we talk about a whiskey for a second? Let's take a little break.
Sure.
Let's take a little whiskey.
Pick one. All right.
Well, what I'm having, I'm going to pour now. I finished my Irish coffee, and again, it was delicious. I'd make another one, but then I have to leave the camera. But I have here an Old Fitzgerald. I think it's a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old. I forget which one it is. It was given to me by a coworker's husband, who got it from his brother-in-law, and apparently it's kind of pricey. So he's like, "Well, you got to try this." I'm like, "Okay." How about you? What do you got?
So
You're still drinking the Lockley or Lockley?
No, I'm done. I am done. I'm moving on.
Okay.
We're bouncing around tonight. So way back when we had on, I forgot his name.
Who?
From Catoctin Creek. Dean.
Oh, Dean Kaplan.
Dean Kaplan from Catoctin Creek.
Yeah,
and we went through. He's been on twice, and we had him. The first time we had him on, he walked us through an entire array.
Yes.
Of Catoctin Creek ryes.
Yeah, they're also rye.
Nope. And so I have the 46 proof Distiller's Edition.
Yes, which is delicious.
So I'm going to pour a little bit of that. And
it's very good.
Dean,
very
if you're out there, cheers and Happy New Year.
Yes. Cheers to you, Dean. Cheers. And by the way, the hot honey rye is gone. I have to pick some more up. So you froze up there. Hello? I think you froze up. You froze up.
Hey, what happened?
I don't know. You're back. There you go.
Oh, you're back too. You were gone.
Okay, good.
No. This is live television, folks. This is what happens.
Hey, what are you gonna do? We got to go change the tubes in the set. We need new tubes.
I'll go down to Thrifty and get a Thrifty drug and get some more.
How's your whiskey?
Well, the smell is beautiful. It's it's one of my go-to ryes when I'm making an old fashioned.
I would agree. It is delicious.
Yeah.
It makes a damn good old fashioned. I've made a few of those. It's delicious. This smells good. I never had this before. This smells really good. I'm not sure who does Old Fitzgerald. Is it a Buffalo Trace? Is it Heaven Hill?
I thought it was Heaven Hill, but I could be wrong. We can look that up. I'm
not sure. Well, it's all right. It's not that important. But I believe it's the Old Fitzgerald 14 or 10, one of those. I don't have the bottle, so I can't tell you.
It is Heaven Hill.
That is delicious. That's really good.
And it's made at the Bernheim Distillery.
Yeah, it's
okay.
I see. That's nice. That's good. Anyway, all right. So we got our little whiskey there, and we just gave a little shout out to our dear friend Dean, Mr. Kaplan, the traveling man.
The traveling man, always on the move.
He goes from cold to colder. I think what did he say?
Yes, he does.
He moved from Chicago to Minnesota.
I think so. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and he was from Michigan, so he's a cold weather guy.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. Let me go into the B's. And you know what? B is the grade, and B is also for British, and this is another British show. I think they're having the monopoly on TV because I think actors and screenwriters and directors might be Britain's greatest export.
It's not tea.
I don't drink tea. Maybe you.
It's not. It's like Guinness. It's not.
Guinness is from Ireland.
It's not Cadbury. Oh, okay. Oh, from Ireland. Oh, wait. What is this?
What, the show?
Yeah.
Hijack.
Oh, Hijack.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a fun one. That was
so
fun.
we
also ludicrous, kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
But I mean, it's got interest. Come on.
Hey, we might have to come back and talk about things that aren't on this list because I just thought of something that might not be on the list at all, and I may have to.
But I think you started watching Hijack, and you're like, "Watch this show. It's kind of fun."
It's just one of those things that showed up on the previews on Apple Plus, and it's got our guy in it, right?
Idris Elba, baby, Luther, Stringer Bell,
right? Stringer Bell, and he's hard not to watch.
Yeah. You know what? Omar Sy is the Idris Elba of France.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
I think we've said that before.
And I think one interesting thing about them both is they play the heavy person very well, but they're very funny.
Yes.
I could see either of these guys in a comedy, and they're
Yeah.
actually I think Idris Elba was in a comedy that I saw.
I watched him do a show where he was a DJ, and it was a
That was it.
comedy. Yeah, it
What
was pretty
was that?
fun. I can't remember what it was called, but it was good. It was kind of fun. It
He
was
he
fun
could
because it was Idris.
and you can see his comedy chops in TV commercials, and he's out and about right now. He's a big star, right?
Absolutely.
And for a long time, the rumor was he was going to be the next James Bond, right?
Yes.
I would personally love to see that, but apparently
Yeah.
he's kind of taken himself out of it.
Yeah.
Back to Hijack. You brought it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. It was a fun show. It was just a fun show. Tense, a thriller. Kind of ridiculous to a point, but it was just a good time. There was a lot of actors again that we've seen before crossing over. I can't remember who the people are, but we've seen them in other shows.
Right, a lot of B actors. No one super famous, right?
No, Idris was the star of the show.
Yep,
easily.
He's on a plane coming from somewhere in
Dubai or
Dubai.
Yeah, something like that. Qatar,
going to London. Well, sure. And there's a plane is hijacked. He is some sort of corporate negotiator in the world of business.
Right. And he's got this mysterious background, but we know he's something else.
Yes. And he's great at talking to people and getting them loose and feeling good and getting through a tough negotiation. So you can see where this is going, of course. He negotiates safety for this plane, and he's got a family involved, and everyone on the plane has family involved because of the way these bad guys have kind of set up the crime.
Because the whole thing was to get these big whatever mobsters or whatever they were out of prison,
right. In England.
And it was like, if you don't do this, we're going to kill your family. So
correct,
because we know things.
Yeah. So a lot of things go south on the airplane. This 747 and whatever it is, and Dreamliner, and he's got to kind of walk you land the plane.
And he's got to improvise a lot, and he's got to find ways to communicate with air traffic control and all this kind of stuff, and just kind of get things going. So it was a fun ride. I mean, it was silly. There might be is there a second season coming?
So of course they land the plane, right? So we're not giving away a lot here, but so it's got to be a completely new story, right?
You'd think.
So I guess I'm sure they could make another. I'm sure it's him. If he wants to do another season, he'll do another season.
Yeah, I think it did okay too. I mean, it's on Apple TV, so who knows how it did. But anyway, that was a fun show.
Okay. All right. So since we're in the ludicrous category of crazy, right? I'll stay on the upper end of my list, I think. I don't know if you saw this. Did you watch Beef?
I didn't finish Beef. I watched about half of Beef. I had not that I didn't like it. It got uncomfortable. It got really uncomfortable.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, in the last week or two, there's been in local newspapers and websites, all the lists of top 10 shows, and a fair amount you could name off, boom, 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 and they're going to probably be on our list too. Beef is in that top 10 in a lot of lists. It's a Netflix series with I'm bad at actors' names, of course.
Oh, I know it's Ali Wong. I don't know who the other
Ali Wong and the guy from Glenn from the vampire show.
I didn't watch it.
This is bad. I'm really bad. Walking Dead.
Okay.
You can look up their names. And he's a Korean American, and she is, I think, Chinese American, and she's like a designer, like interior designer or
something like that. Yeah.
Right? And he is construction
He's having a
guy.
hard time. He's a
Hard
down on his luck
time.
kind of guy.
Yeah, totally. And they have a run in a parking lot,
Yeah, there's a little road rage incident.
like little road rage, and it just grows into this inferno of rage,
Escalates.
escalates where he can't handle that she's been this mean person to him, and she can't handle he's a mean person, and their lives get entwined.
Right.
Their families become entwined unknowingly, and it is burning of bridges times a million. And you didn't see it all, but it's really good, and it is incredibly uncomfortable. It is incredibly uncomfortable. It's a very it's a it's not all, almost all, it's pretty much all Asian American cast, which is fun which is great to see here in Southern California. It runs the gamut from very religious Asian Americans to just very rich ones and eclectic ones and guys that are working class and bad guys. David Cho, and there's some controversy about David Cho in the show as well, and it really is it's really well done, but as you said, it is uncomfortable. It really pushes a lot of lines in a lot of ways, but I liked it, and then
I kind of want to go back to it because it's got a lot of good buzz, and I liked what I saw. It was rough, man. It's a rough ride. It's a really rough ride.
And it's not there. There is humor.
It's funny.
It's funny.
I'm surprised. I really like Ali Wong in it. She's really good.
She's great, and I forget her a lot. That she's just was she a stand-up right first?
She was a stand-up, and she's in that movie. I like that. Always Be My Maybe.
Always Be My Maybe. That's right. That was great.
She was great in that. Her and Ken Park, I think his name is the other actor.
So it's really good, and I recommend going back to it. And I think it's a one and done. I don't think they can do another season of that.
Yeah,
I think. So anyway, that was my next wacko. That's in my wacko list.
In the wacko list.
In the wacko list.
Oh, you want to go to the wacko list? I can go wacko.
Go wacko. I have another good wacko one actually. Too.
Okay, so we got This Fool. That was on Hulu.
This Fool.
Season 2. I give it a B+. It's a lot of fun. I can't remember the actors, but it's like, I guess it's instead
Chris,
of, what's that?
Chris, what is his name? Go ahead.
I can't think of the actors that are in it, but it's a lot of fun. It's in the Latino community in LA, also another LA show.
Yep.
And
Chris Estrada.
Our boy Christopher's in it, Michael Imperioli.
Yep.
And he's great. He's really good. I like that he's having not a second life, but it looks like his career has been taken off lately. Not taken off, but what's the right word?
Just a resurrection.
He's doing a lot of work right now. He's just doing a lot of work.
He's staying busy. Yeah.
And I think he's been really good. He's been really, really good.
Chris Estrada is really funny. My daughter and I went and saw my brain is asleep here. We went and saw a live show, and Chris Estrada came out in the middle of it to do 15 minutes of stand-up. And Fred Armisen's live show. And Fred brought Chris Estrada out, and he just did 15 minutes, and it was so funny. I mean, it was it had almost no, it was out of context for the rest of the show, but it was very good, and he's very funny. Now, I only watched about half of season 1, so I need to go back to it myself. It's
a lot of fun. Okay, so it's Chris Estrada, Frankie Quinones.
Yeah, Frankie Quinones, another stand-up.
He's really good too. They're all good. I mean, the whole cast is great. It's just a lot of fun. The show is just a lot of fun. It's worth a look. It's really funny. There's a whole episode with I guess I don't know if he's the grandfather and he's got a rooster and he's waking up everybody in the neighborhood and the whole neighborhood's getting up at arms. It's really good. It's just funny. It's really, really funny.
It reminded me of another show. And I think it was prior to 2023 that it ended. And I don't know. I think it was Hulu, and it was called Hentified. And
I don't think I saw that.
GEN, like gentrified, but Hentified. and it was about a family in East LA who are being basically pushed out because of gentrification.
Okay.
And there's a grandpa, and he's got an estranged son, and he's got two grandsons. One's a would-be chef who hasn't really become a chef yet. He really should just jump in and go be a chef. And another son who helps grandpa out in their taqueria. And then there's a granddaughter who is an artist, and she just wants to, go out there and be in the world and be an artist, but she also has to help grandpa. So everyone's helping grandpa, but grandpa's got his own problems with immigration issues, and it's a really another Los Angeles based story, and it's really good too, and very funny. Family story, sad, has a lot of social commentary about immigration in America and gentrification in America. So I was kind of watching the two shows together. I started watching this Fool, and I kind of got hooked on Hentified, and then so I got to go back. But Hentified ended; it's over. Okay, so back to crazy shows. We are really bouncing around.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I had never heard of the show, and it got all this buzz, and it didn't make any sense to me what this whole thing was, until I learned a little more about it, and then went back and watched the original versions of it. Party Down.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I watched the whole series like this past year, I think. And
me too. I did not know of this show, never heard of this show. Adam Scott and who else in this cast? There's so many people. Are a group of people who are working for a catering company and doing parties.
Right.
And
they're all in one form or another in some kind of like they all want to be actors, right?
They all want to be actors, kind of, right? And they Jane Lynch is in the beginning, right? Jane Lynch is in it, and
Megan Mullally's in it.
Megan Mullally's. Who's the girlfriend? The first girlfriend.
Let me go through let me just go through a quick cast list here. So you got Adam Scott, who I guess is like the lead guy.
He's the lead character. Yep.
Ken Marino, who runs the catering business.
Who runs the catering. Yep.
Who's the only one that wants to be a caterer.
Yeah, oddly enough, there is somebody that wants to be a caterer.
Right. You got Ryan Hansen, who wants to be an actor. Martin Starr, who wants to be a screenwriter.
From Freaks and Geeks.
And don't forget Silicon Valley. Lizzie Kaplan. I love Lizzie Kaplan. Megan Mullally, Jane Lynch. Jennifer Garner shows up in the last season. And I thought she was great. I've never really been a big fan of Jennifer Garner, but I thought she was really good.
Oh, she was great. Yeah.
Zoe Chow.
Zoe Chow's in it, yeah.
Who's wacky.
Who's also in another. She's also in another part of another show with Party in it. After Party.
Yep. But then you get all these a lot of what do you call it? Cameos or guest spots. So they've had Jennifer Coolidge, Kristen Bell, J.K. Simmons, Joey Lauren Adams.
J.K. Simmons was so funny.
Oh, he was great.
So
James Marsden was in an episode.
So what they do with this band, this company of caterers, every episode is a different party. It's a bar mitzvah party, it's a record release party, and you see these catering guys all complaining about their lives and trying to feed these people, and who some are rich parties, some are not so rich parties, but it's really about the lives of the caterers and how disgruntled they are, and are they going to get out of this and get a real job, and what's holding them back, etc. So this originally showed up on Starz, I believe.
Yes.
Right. And there were 2 seasons.
I think
10 years ago, 10,
something like that
ago. And it was dead and gone after 2 seasons. I don't know the story, but it gets resurrected by Hulu 10, 12 years later for a 3rd season. and getting the band back together, basically. And so that's what came out in 2023 was the 3rd season.
I thought it was great. It was so fun.
It was so well done to bring everybody back, and not as if it was year 3, it's 10 years later,
Right.
right? And where everybody is now in life, and what they've accomplished, what they haven't accomplished. It and Jennifer Garner comes in as the girlfriend of Adam Scott.
Yep.
And she's like she works for some big
Production company or
production company. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she can get him out of this whole catering thing. He's still in the catering game. But it's really crazy. It's really funny. It's all it's just, and all the cameos are still there this year. More cameos because it's like all of a sudden they have a bigger budget because it's Hulu 10 years later, right? It is really good. Highly recommend it.
It was
really
good. I don't know why I missed it. Well, I don't think I had Stars the first time around, but I watched it. I watched it off and on over the years because I always go back and I hear about it. Oh, Party Down's great. You should watch it. And I watched a couple episodes, but I never finished it.
Yeah.
And this year I finally really got into it and just watched the whole thing. It was awesome. I loved it. I thought it was
on my list here. I'm going to look this real quick. So I have 34. I would say of this 34 TV shows, I would say less than 5 or less than 3 are actual comedies. I mean,
right.
And Party Down is one of those ones that is actually just a comedy. It's not pretending to be too much else, right?
Right.
There are other things going on in it, but it's really a comedy. All the other ones there's comedy in other shows, but it's just we're in the drama world, I guess.
It's a good show. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay, your turn.
All right, we're still going with just like things that maybe pleasant surprises.
Before a pleasant surprise.
Yes.
This Catoctin Creek Rye is just a pleasant surprise.
Delicious. Yeah, you know what? This Old Fitzgerald was quite excellent, and it's quite gone. So I may have to get up and get another whiskey.
I have a couple more good ones coming.
Okay. Well, I may have to maybe when you're in the middle of a monologue, I can go. While you're monologuing, I'll go.
When I'm monologuing, yes. When I'm babbling, babble away over to the.
Here's a pleasant surprise, which I didn't think I would like because I didn't really care for the lead guy, but after I watched the show, I do like the guy. Bupkis on Peacock.
You told me to watch it, and I watched part of the first episode. And I never went back to it. It's on my list of things to go back to. That's
I really liked it.
That is
Davidson. What's his name? Is it not Tommy Davidson? What's his name?
It is a Davidson.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll find it. We'll get back to his name. But Edie Falco's in it, and she's great.
Edie Falco.
Joe Pesci's fantastic. Who is the brother from Raymond?
Oh, the tall guy.
Yeah, what the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. Anyway, whatever. He was really good.
I'll look. You talk, I'll look.
Okay, but it was just a really good show. It was really, really good. It's all the ups and downs. It's not Tommy Davidson. What is his name?
I'll look.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. So it's like just the ups and downs, and it's about him. He's playing himself.
It's Pete Davidson's life, basically.
Yeah, and he's living in his mom's house, and his dad, I think, was a fireman and died in 9/11.
Your boy,
that's all true.
Your boy Bobby Cannavale's in it.
Bobby Cannavale's in it. He's great.
Brad Garrett is the.
Brad Garrett was fantastic. Yeah. Bobby Cannavale was great. He was really, really good in this.
I just forgot something. Remember I said earlier that there's things that aren't on that list that should have been on that list. Mm-hmm. And I think I found out there's a Bobby Cannavale show that I want to mention maybe later.
Oh, which one? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just actually a really good show. It was actually really interesting. And Pete Davidson was great. I thought he was really good. Playing himself and just all the pitfalls of celebrity and all this other stuff.
I read something about the show. What's it on? It was on
Hulu? Peacock.
Peacock. So it didn't go to Netflix, which was the higher, profile streamer. And it was actually good for Pete Davidson not having the high profile of his show. This was the article I read. Because he's got, his life is larger than life, right? It's crazy. There's always something nuts about him. He just can't go through life kind of quietly. And this show, it's not totally about it is his life, but it's TV version of it. It was good that it was off to the side a little bit. It didn't get all the bright lights that it would have got on Netflix, and maybe would have been torn apart, maybe.
Right.
Whereas it was kind of pushed aside. I mean, a lot of people don't even know about it, right? If you said Bupkis, people would think you're talking Yiddish, and you wouldn't know what the show is about, or
Right.
that it was a show at all. It's not the Pete
I was
Davidson show.
pleasantly surprised. I was really,
Yeah, and
really
I think
surprised that I
and I
really
think
enjoyed it.
that's the point. People were pleasantly surprised because it wasn't so outlandish, like his real life is, right?
Right. Yeah, it was
Yep.
good. It was a really good show.
Uh,
That was
yeah.
fun.
On my list to go back to. And you know, and I think of it as a small show, and maybe because it's not
Yes.
on Netflix. Another small show that I really like, we're kind of staying down on the bottom of the list a bit for me, was Single Drunk Female.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know I talked about it a few times on the pod. That maybe I'll put these two together. Well, the other one's not so small. Single Drunk Female. It was on
It was on Hulu, right?
it's
Freeform.
Hulu. It says Freeform, but I watched it on Hulu. The lead actress's name is one sec here.
How about I look it up and you talk?
Yeah, her name is Sophia Black Dahlia. And her mom in the show, the only other name you would know would be Ali Sheedy.
Dahlia, like the flower, Dahlia.
It's her last name is Black dash D''ELIA.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the flower.
And she, her name is Samantha, and she, in the very first episode, this is season 2 that just is this year. She is a writer. She works for some sort of magazine, but she's an alcoholic, and she gets in a car crash and just totals her mom's car, and the state, or I think it's in Boston. Yeah, Boston. And she has to go to AA, and she has to, can't drive, blah, blah, blah. And her life is over, basically. And she has to basically live with her mom because she's lost her job. And because she lost her job because she was drunk and came to work and got into a fight with her boss, and the boss fired her. So because of her alcoholism. And so she's having to deal with being a 30-something or whatever, 20-something, and trying to manage life as an alcoholic, and going through the program and trying to find a job and dealing with her friends who are not alcoholics. And so it's a bit dark, but it's a bit funny. And Ali Sheedy, our girlfriend from the 80s, is now a mom.
Right. And
she's great as a mom who's trying to deal with her daughter who's got these serious issues, and she's trying to, the dad had passed away. So she's a single mom, and she has a boyfriend who's trying to be a great guy and take care of Ali Sheedy and help out with the adult alcoholic daughter, and it makes a tough relationship. And by season 2, you see Samantha changing, and she's changing for the better, but it's still a struggle. And I think there's a lot of humor, a lot of fun. I think she's one of those ones that you're going to say, we knew her when. She's a really good actress.
Okay. So she's a star to watch.
She's a star to watch. She really, definitely. So that was my little under the radar show on whatever Freeform is, and Hulu.
Okay.
Your turn.
Another. I like Under the Radar. Under the Radar is kind of fun.
Me too. Yeah.
I like kind of watching things that no one else is watching. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. I agree.
Dave, season 3.
Never saw it.
Oh my God, Dave is insane.
I don't know of Dave.
Dave is wacky. Season 3 was the Finding Love season, and he is like, he's going on tour. So Dave is, I can't remember what the last name of the character is. He goes by Little Dicky. That's his rap name, because it's a literal, his name.
Yes.
So he's a rapper, and he gets a record deal, and he's going on tour. And this is like the Finding Love tour.
Yeah, Dave Bird, right? That's his real
Yeah,
name, I
Dave
think.
Burton. He's a Philly guy, also a
Yeah.
Philly guy. So there's a Philly connection. A lot of Sixers references. A lot of he's very into basketball, and it's just him and his friends, and they're running the tour and going around on a bus and all this crazy, all the wacky adventures that happen. But season 3 was really good. Season 2 was a little uneven. Season 2 ended strong. Season 1 was great. Season 2 was kind of so but season 3 was fantastic all the way through. And Brad Pitt does a cameo in one episode, and he was actually
Wow.
really fun. He was wacky. He
Brad
was
Pitt.
wacky. Yeah, they got Brad Pitt
Wow.
in an episode.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
So is this still ongoing? Is it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's over or not, but it was pretty cool. It was one episode that was pretty funny. Like he was shooting a video at his house. He wrote a song for like the love of his life when he was a kid, and he like brings the girl in, and they're shooting this whole thing at like his parents' house. It was really funny. It was just so bizarre.
So
Such a bizarre show.
What streamer was that on?
This was on Hulu.
Hulu,
It's an FX show, but I don't know if it was FX
Oh,
on the
FX.
channel or if it was just one of those FX for Hulu shows.
Yes.
But because I don't usually watch regular, I'm always watching the streamers versus.
Yep.
So, but it was good. It was a lot of fun.
This takes me. I'm going to bring up two shows. One big, one small.
Go ahead.
So the first one, and they're sort of connected in a weird way. And I'm sure I talked about these on the pod also.
Okay.
So the first one's called Shoresy. And I actually had Shoresy as my number 10.
Oh yeah, your hockey show, your Canadian hockey show tied in with well, I'll let you finish.
With Letterkenny.
Yes.
So it's a spin-off of Letterkenny, which is from Canada from the Crave network. And the guy that created that show, or one of the guys that created that show, Jared Kiso, created Letterkenny, which was about a small town in Ontario, 5,000 people, and this is a story about their stories.
Okay.
And that's Letterkenny, and Letterkenny just released its final season this week, 6 episodes, season 12.
Wow.
And they decided, and this Jared Kiso said, no, I'm done with this. And he has this contract with Crave to do like 50 more episodes of television, and primarily with this show called Shoresy. Now in Letterkenny, there's a small hockey element to the show. It's a small town. There's a small town hockey, like a adult hockey league. And there's one player on the team whose name is Shoresy. And 3 seasons ago, he leaves Letterkenny, this actor. He leaves to go to a suburb of Toronto to play in an adult. It's called the North Ontario Senior Hockey Organization, the No Show, and it's just an adult. It's an adult hockey league.
Is that a real thing, or they made that up?
It's made up, but that's a real thing that happens, and it's like they have real sponsors, and okay. I don't know if they get paid or not, but so he goes to this team in season 1. The team is bad. It's owned by a woman, and she's got this woman, and she's got 2 aides, and there's a lot of Native Canadians in the show, and these 2 women are her side all the time, and they're Native Canadians, and they want a winning team, and so they bring in Shoresy because they know he's like this tough guy who can be a winning guy, and he transforms the team, and he's old time hockey, and there's this feel good element to it. And the first season, he turns around the team. It's very funny. It's very raunchy. He brings in players from other who played in the NHL. He brings them in to play on this team, and the team gets good. But there's also this side stuff that goes on off the ice too, and it's hilarious. Now season 2 just passed, and they've actually gotten so good now they're going to like some bigger tournament to be the best team ever in this senior hockey league, senior hockey world, and it's more of the same. And it leads me to another show, which world loved, about a feel-good team that wasn't very good and then became better, Ted Lasso, right?
Aha.
Which was also on my list and in some on my my secondary list, runners up. And Ted Lasso ended its run, right? Season 3 was
Yes.
its last run. And when it came out, I avoided it because it sounded too Pollyanna for me. And I just didn't want to do a deal. It just wasn't my thing. A friend of mine told me, you got to watch this. It's really good. And so I got sucked in, and it is really good. It was
It
a
is.
really good
Season 1
show.
was great. I've watched
Season 1 is good.
season 1 several times, and I really
And
enjoy it.
I 2 and 3 are good too. And and 3 is a little bit more robotic, I think, trying to come to an ending to it
Yeah,
all.
it lost something in the 2 and 3, like, it almost got too, what do you wanna call it? It expanded, like, it went beyond its reach a little bit too much,
Maybe.
I think it
Yeah.
lost the focus. I don't know. I think it was okay. I watched it. I finished it. It wasn't horrible, but it was uneven. How about that?
Another show where sports shows inevitably, if you're dealing with a team sport, you've got a lot of people that you're dealing with, right? You have a whole team of
Right.
people, and you're dealing. Everyone's got to get their little piece of
Right.
line, and you get learn a little bit about everybody. And the same thing in Letterkenny. It's a very wide group of Shoresy. You've got teammates, you've got management, you've got ancillary characters, and you're trying to learn about them all. But it's all about putting a team together and making them better and making the team successful. And in some ways, I think Shoresy is better at portraying that. Maybe because it's not a pro league, it's
Mhm.
amateurs. About getting amateurs together to try to win and try to be better. And what's the game's really about. Ted Lasso does it too, but Ted Lasso's on a whole different level because it's just, you're talking about, Premier League soccer,
Right.
and it's a whole different level of craziness. So they're both made my list. I really recommend Shoresy. It's only 12 episodes total for 2 seasons. It's a little bit of work because of the language and the style of language. It's Canadian, very Canadian, and probably a little bit offensive to a lot of people too. But it's horribly funny.
Horribly funny.
Horribly funny.
Okay.
Horribly funny, eh?
Okay.
Pitter patter. Pitter patter.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. We're bouncing all over the place, aren't we?
We are bouncing.
It's okay.
Bounce away.
Bouncing's good.
Bouncing puck.
Another show that ended its run, which was good, very good. There's a lot of shows that ended their run. Reservation Dogs, which we've talked about before, which I thought ended really well. Season 3 was a little uneven, but it was still really good. It was still really excellent overall. And there were some really funny moments and some really touching moments. And I like the way they took, the way they pulled it all together.
Yeah. So if I told you I did actually have a 1 through 10, it's my number 2 show of the year, and it really touches me. It's hard to talk about these shows without one. They're so short. They're 3 seasons. It's 30 episodes.
You could watch 3 seasons in 3 nights easily.
And it's a half-hour show, like 22 minutes something.
Right.
It's hard not to look at the show in total. About 4 indigenous kids on an Oklahoma reservation, and growing up and trying to grow up after a friend had committed suicide, and that's the premise of this whole show.
Yeah.
And how all 4 of them are dealing with that, and season 3 wraps it up, and where these kids are going to go off to after season 3.
Yeah.
And I think it was just done well. And an overriding theme or part of the show is that they're indigenous and they're living the life of an indigenous kid in America, which cannot be easy with all those problems that happen on reservations.
Yeah.
And the background of the indigenous American, whether in mythology and history and we see a lot of that from the
Dear
the
Lady.
Dear Lady, and also
Oh, what was his
the
name?
chief, the chief, whatever his name
Oh,
was,
he's great. That guy's awesome. That guy's
who's a
hysterical.
kind
I
of
can't remember
a
his name.
spiritual character.
Knifeman. William
Knife,
Knifeman.
William Knifeman. So you see the spiritual side of that culture and the mythological part of that culture
Well, what was
throughout.
great about the show is it started with these four kids that just want to get away from the reservation and move to California. And at the end, it ultimately becomes that their family and it's community, and it's just these people coming back
That's
together
right.
again and how they're there for each other.
That's right.
You know,
It's
and
all, yeah.
and like the episode where they did the little flashback of the elders when they were younger.
When they're parents, yeah.
I mean, the casting was spectacular. I mean, these whoever's doing the casting for these shows, not just them, but like Lupin or My Brilliant Friend, where they're casting the younger and the older of the same character.
Yeah,
They're doing spectacular jobs. I mean, they're
yes,
just doing really, really good jobs of finding.
that's
Not
right.
even just the look, but just it's plausible that was the kid.
Yes,
You
I
know,
agree.
they've
Very
just done a
well
really,
done.
really good job with that.
Very well done. I loved the show. It was actually sad when it was over to
Oh, it
me
was.
because
It was.
it was. I want to see these kids keep growing and going other places. But you mentioned Dear Lady. Dear Lady is
She's in Shoresy, or
she's
she's in
she's
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny. She's a Canadian American, Native Canadian First
Yeah, her
Nations.
mom was an activist. Did
Her
you
mom's
say?
an activist, and also the woman that plays the one.
Lenora?
What's her name?
Was it the young girl,
Yeah,
Lenora?
what
She's a
Lenore?
director, right? Or she's a filmmaker?
She's also a Native Canadian,
Okay.
First Nations. So there's a real connection to Canada in this as well. So great show, loved it.
It
And
is.
I've actually watched, not because of Reservation Dogs necessarily, but I've seen more Native American, Native Canadian shows or connection shows. Another show that I thought of too that's not on this list. This past year, or maybe last 2 years, maybe Reservation Dogs is the one that kind of led this tidal wave of them. One that I watched was in my runner-ups was Dark Winds on AMC.
Right.
The one lead cop in Reservation Dogs,
Yes.
is the lead actor in Dark Winds. And maybe it's Dark Wind or Dark Winds, I'm not sure.
I think so. And what's her name's in it too? Willie Jack. She's also in that too, right?
She's not. There's another girl that's in it she becomes part of their group at the end, like on Reservation Dogs. But
Was she Jackie?
Jackie? Yes, she's.
Oh, I thought it was the other one. I thought it was Willie Jack that's in it.
No.
Okay.
So Dark Wind is a show from it's set in the 70s.
I'm going to fact check you, by the way.
Fact check me. It's in the 70s, I think, or 60s.
Okay.
It must be the 70s, and it's in early 70s on a Navajo reservation in New Mexico, and there's a murder. It's a murder mystery basically, and with the Navajo Police Department and the FBI's involved, and this was season 2, kind of sort of a continuation of season 1.
No, by the way, you're right.
Of course, I'm right.
My
Have I ever been wrong? Have I ever been wrong?
Yes.
On this show? Oh, I have been. Okay.
Absolutely.
But it's another. It's not. There's no humor. We should mention Reservation Dogs was very funny.
Oh my God, hilarious!
Right?
Hilarious.
It's semi-comedy.
And actually, the guy you're talking about that's in Dark Winds. I mean, the chef.
What's his name?
Yeah, McCarran. Is it Nate McCarran or something like that? Hold on a second.
I don't remember.
I'll tell you in a minute. Zahn McClarnon.
That's him.
McLaren.
He's great.
He's a star. He's awesome in Reservation Dogs. He's so funny.
He's very funny in that, and he's not the same cop in Dark Winds. He is really good, really, really good. And the woman that plays his wife, same way. And it goes a little bit deeper into Navajo indigenous culture a little bit, because this is all on the reservation in the middle of nowhere. It's really good too. But it's dark. It's dark. It's a couple murder mysteries in it.
Okay.
So there you go. What do you need whiskey? Do you need another show? What do you need?
Here's a show that surprised me. Another show that surprised me that I didn't think I would like because it's not really my genre.
Mhm.
But in the end, I really enjoyed it. The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. That's the one.
That was the post-apocalyptic show
Yeah.
with
Yep.
what's his name? With the Mandalorian.
Yep. Oscar Isaac. Not Oscar Isaac.
No, Oscar Isaac.
I get.
We are the worst.
I am the
God,
worst.
We're both
we really
bad.
should. We really
I'm
should.
terrible too, and he's everywhere too.
Yes.
Whatever. Anyway, the guy, the Mandalorian. We're gonna call him the Mandalorian until I can find his name.
His name is Pedro
Pascal. That's it. Pedro Pascal. I thought it was just a really good show. I was surprised because it's not really my thing usually. Yeah. Especially it's like based on a video game, which I don't know nothing about. I know nothing about.
Oh yeah, I've read about that. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. then the girl who was, I think, was she on Game of Thrones?
The little girl, yeah, Bella Ramsey. Yes, she was on
Bella Ramsey, which I didn't like her at first, but she really grew on me, and she was excellent.
Yeah.
It was just really well done, and it was cool because, like, I was expecting to see zombies and monsters and all that, but it was used judiciously. You know what I mean? It was like,
well, like, it's not about the zombies.
No, it's not. But I was thinking it was going to be like that, like The Walking Dead, or
yes,
but it wasn't. It was used properly.
Correct, and I think you said Walking Dead, so we'll bring it up. So Walking Dead, unfortunately, I think, although it was very popular, it made the zombies almost as important as anybody else in the beginning, at least. Until it kind of found its way and it became a story about factions and how factions get along, or how groups get along. I think The Last of Us never ever intended for the zombies to be a character.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That's right. It's not. It's about survival and moving on and moving forward, and it does it really well. There's a couple, and hard not to mention the standalone episode with Nick Offerman.
Oh, that was fantastic. That was just tremendous.
Murray Bartlett, I think his name is. And great episode. And there's some people in this show that are really great. There's some big names as well. It's really good. And it was I wasn't in love with it, but
I gave it a B+.
Thinking about it more, I like it more now in retrospect than when I was watching it. It was a little bit. It felt to me sometimes a little bit over the top, dialogue wise, but it was really good. And I love Pedro Pascal. He's just great.
Well, what was nice too is they threw in a little humor. I mean, Bella Ramsey was really funny. She was really good.
Yeah. Well, I think you needed that balance because it was pretty dark.
Yeah,
right?
it did.
You needed
some
comedic effort.
The Nick Offerman episode was tremendous. That was just fantastic. That was probably the best episode of the season.
Man, I think there's other shows that we go back and we'll watch one episode over and over again. And if I were to go back and watch one episode of this, that'd be the one. I think it was episode 3. I would watch it again. Let's see. Well, before we go too much further, I want to say again that this is Booze Dancing live, the Booze Dancing Entertainment Network, on our year-end special here. We're also calling this Booze Dancing 363 because this is the 363rd night of the year.
It's got a nice symmetry too, by the way.
It does, 363. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and possibly Instagram. This will be turned into a podcast in a few weeks. And
months? Did you say months?
It
could be. I don't know.
The What We Watch When We Drink podcast. And we are just going over our favorite shows from the year in kind of no order. And we're also talking about some of the great whiskeys we had during the year. I'm going to pour myself another one since we're talking whiskey.
All right. Well, you know what? You jibber jabber a little bit. I'm going to get a little booze. I'll be right back.
Okay. So about a year ago, actually, I was lucky to meet here in Los Angeles Dave Mitton from Corby Wine and Spirits. Dave, who else? They are an arm of Hiram Walker, and Dave came on our show and sent us a bunch of samples out, and from Hiram Walker. And one of the ones that he sent us, which I loved it before, and I really love it now.
What do you love?
The Lot 40 Dark Oak.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And
Thanks to our good friend Dave.
Dave, right? And it is a beautiful whiskey. Boy, it is just. And the regular Lot 40 I loved beforehand, for a long time, and then the Dark Oak came out, and I think the Dark Oak for me is, I don't know, it's bolder. I just think it's just more my profile.
Okay.
It's just beautiful.
You are
so
bold.
That's what I'm on now.
You are bold and beautiful.
I am bold and beautiful. I am all my children of
that's right.
Of podcasters.
Well, there was a show, The Bold and the Beautiful, wasn't there? Wasn't that a soap opera as well?
Hence my reference. Yes.
I know, but that had nothing to do with All My Children, did it?
No, it was a soap opera thing.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Wrong network. Bold and Beautiful was CBS. All My Children was ABC.
Yes, it was. The Cassadines.
The Cassadines, that's right.
Cassadines.
And they literally, it seems like every time I'm looking at the newspaper, one of the Cassadine drops dead. Wow. It's weird. They're all dropping dead.
Luke and Laura, baby. Luke and Laura. It's all about Luke and Laura.
Luke died, and Laura's probably got one foot in the grave.
I have no idea. It was a long time ago.
Was.
So what I poured myself was a Tamworth Distilling Chocorua rye whiskey.
What the heck is that?
I honestly don't know. There's a lot of words on this. There's a lot of writing. This is from Tamworth Distillery in New Hampshire.
You said Tamworth with a T. Yeah.
Yeah, Tamworth. Tamworth. We got this bottle along with their Art in the Age fig cordial, and it was going to be a variation on a Manhattan, and it was delicious. But now I didn't actually try the rye on its own.
Okay.
So I'm trying the rye on its own.
Stephen
Grasset.
Stephen Grasset, yeah.
From what was it, Quaker Mercantile?
Oh, I don't know
that.
I know Art in the Age.
Art in the Age, Quaker Mercantile, Tamworth Distilling, they're all his.
You and me, you took me to Art in the Age.
He's a wild man. He is a wild man.
Yeah. Yep. What's your friend's name? The PR person there.
Oh, Kylie Platt from
Kylie. Hi, Kylie, if you're out there.
Yes. Yep. Hello, Kylie.
Yep. How is it?
It's good. That's really nice. It's a little grainy, but it's good.
Yeah. The Dark Oak is just
very, very nice.
Dr. Don Livermore, but Hiram Walker, man, is
ironic, right? Livermore.
Or liverless.
Liverless. Yes. Or actually, it's more like Livermore, as in you need more liver.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Back to TV.
So who did you
were talking? We were talking The Last of Us.
Last of Us. Okay, so Last of Us. That's kind of a dark show. Well, let's see. How about why don't we go upstairs here to my number 3?
Okay.
Barry.
See, that's on my. I gotta watch it. I gotta go back to it. I don't know why I haven't.
So this is season 4 of Barry, and the end of. And so since you haven't seen it, we won't go too deep in it. But Barry, Cinemax, HBO, Cinemax, Max, and HBO. The 4th season of this crazy show. I mean, I don't know what you say about it. It started off sort of like you think it's going to be a comedy, and it gets way darker.
Funny.
It's funny, and season 4 is darker and crazier than anything else. It's Bill Hader as a
hitman.
Hitman who was an ex
Marine.
Yeah,
he was a sniper, right? Wasn't he a Marine
sniper? Yeah, who's really suffering from PTSD, and he comes to LA and gets himself into, kind of wants to be out of the business, right? And gets himself into an acting class that is accidentally. It is taught by Henry Winkler, and in this class he meets his friend, girlfriend to be, Sally, who is played by Sarah Goldberg, and his handler, I guess handler from the CIA. Do we know who worked? I guess CIA is Stephen Root.
Oh yeah, he's tremendous.
Who is just tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an ongoing crime thing that he has to, hitman thing that he has to do. And he goes through this horrible process of trying to separate himself from being a hitman, but he can't. He's stuck in it. And so we see this over 4 years, 4 seasons. And then it all comes to a interesting, I'm not going to give it all away here, in season 4. It is tremendous. And this is another show that even if the show wasn't interesting to you, the individual performances are just insanely good. It's like The Crown. Henry Winkler is just amazing. He is not even remotely Fonzie anymore, right? He is a quality American actor of the highest level, at least on the TV level, TV style. Hader is just Hader. He's just great. And if you thought that Bill Hader, the guy from SNL, was going to become Barry and this kind of quality actor, you may have never said that.
And writer and director. I mean, he's doing the whole show, right? He's a showrunner.
Yeah, yes, correct. Is he showrunner?
Well, not showrunner, but I mean, still, it's his show.
Yeah. Stephen Root is just great in everything. Sally Goldberg, is that her name? Sarah Goldberg. And one person I forgot to mention is Anthony Carrigan, NoHo Hank.
Oh, okay, he's great.
He's like part of the
Serbian mob or Armenian,
Croatian, I don't know what they are, mob in the valley, and he is maybe it's Chechen.
That was it. Chechen.
And he is so good. I mean, if there was a guy that needs a spinoff, that would have been the guy. He is so funny.
Wait, not to give away, not for spoilers or anything, but can't do a spinoff, huh?
I can't say.
Okay.
It's just a great show, and it's in that HBO family from like long ago. Sopranos, 6 Feet Under.
Mm-hmm.
It was dark. It was funny. It was just tremendous and depth and in humor. Oh boy, it's just so good. It's another one I'm going to miss.
I gotta go back.
Yeah, you need to go back. It's
well,
good.
You notice I tried to watch it when it came back on, but then I forgot what happened in season 3. So
yeah, it's probably one to go back.
Go back a couple episodes.
It's not so much about the story. It's about the character development and what the characters are going. What Barry's going through, right?
Okay.
And Sally, how their lives are changing. It's not so much about the story because the story gets a little bit, the mob stuff is kind of whatever.
Right.
So, okay, your turn.
All right.
By the way, I love the Starcross.
Yeah,
that's just okay.
Yeah, this whiskey's good too. I'm going back for another one. Here's one that sadly has met with the demise, but I thought season 2 was actually better than season 1. Perry Mason.
Perry Mason, also on my bigger list.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. I thought Matthew Rhys was great. Everything was great.
Yeah.
And actually, remember the love interest in Perry Mason season 2?
The love interest.
The teacher or whoever it was.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She's in Slow Horses season 3. She was the woman that started off the first episode of season 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It took me a second to figure out who she was. I'm like, who is she? Who is she?
Oh,
who is she?
So
then
funny.
I figured out who it is. So anyway. But I really liked Perry Mason. I thought it was really, really good.
So before we go too far on this, Barry, Beef. What was the show you mentioned? Hentified and The Fool.
Yeah, This Fool.
Perry Mason. Party Down.
Mm-hmm.
After Party. Well, I haven't mentioned that one, but After Party. Not After Party. I guess that's all of them. You see the connection on all those?
No. Dark comedies? No.
All in Los Angeles.
Ah, yeah. Well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it just happens to be, you know, it's either LA or New York.
Yep.
And Chicago's on the rise.
Yeah.
Thanks to Chicago PD and Chicago Fire and all the Chicago
I think,
shows.
yeah, I think, well, this show especially, it really portrays Los Angeles from a different era really well.
Yeah,
And
it
you
does.
see,
It's
yeah.
really good.
Oh, there's another one actually that is on my list, and we don't have to go into it. But Lessons in Chemistry, that's Los Angeles in the 1950s, also.
Okay.
That just was on Apple TV. Another one, Platonic. I just see that's a Los Angeles show too.
Yeah. Perry Mason, though.
Perry Mason, so good.
Oh, it was
So
great.
good.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
And I think we're past the viewing audience today is probably past the Perry Mason of the 1960s.
Oh yeah.
Nobody even thinks about Raymond Burr anymore.
No, there's no connection.
There's no really connection at all.
Except for the name of the character.
Except for the name of the character. And it is told in a really fun way. And Matthew Rhys is just this great disheveled actor, lawyer, and detective, really, who is trying to make a name for himself, make a kind of a career for himself, and with almost no money, and gets himself into a big case. And they've added a female empowerment element with his partner.
Yep.
And she's great.
She is good. She was good in The Knick too.
I just said that, The Knick. She's great.
She was really good.
And the city gets portrayed, you know, that 1920s era, 20s, right?
No, is it post World War One? Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's post World War One, right? Not post World War II. Correct,
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
It's City Hall and downtown LA and the Valley, and it's really neat to see that old time Hollywood or Los Angeles.
Yeah. So the four leads are it's Matthew Rhys, Juliet Rylance, who plays Della Street, Chris Chalk, who's really good, Shea Wiggum, who's fantastic, and there's a few other folks, but they're the big four.
Chris Chalk is the one that's from Boardwalk Empire. Wasn't he in Boardwalk?
No, Shea Wiggum.
Oh, Shea Wiggum.
Okay. Shea Wiggum was what's his name's brother? Was Steve Buscemi's brother?
Steve Buscemi's
the sheriff or whatever he was.
Yeah, the sheriff. Yep.
Shea Wiggum's great. He's fantastic.
He shows up in a lot of places.
He's awesome. He's really good.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed season 2, and Matthew Rhys. You know, we have a kind of like 6 degrees of whiskey.
We got a whiskey connection.
Right. So Matthew Rhys is from Wales, and Matthew Rhys likes Penderyn whiskey, which is a single malt from Wales, and Penderyn whiskey is imported by our friends at Impex, right? And so there's been single casks coming from Single Cask Nation, Jason and Joshua, and we have been lucky enough to sample those things. We've talked to people from Penderyn before. So, hi, Matthew. You should come on the show one day.
That's right. You should. I want to hear about his boat.
I want to hear about
the boat. I want to hear about the boat. I want to talk to the Americans. I want to talk
about
the
Americans. We can talk about the Americans, yeah.
So, yes. Great show. I'm sad. I was very sad by the news that it wasn't coming back.
Okay. How about... Oh, you know what? This is a great lead-in. Now, this is a show I don't think you watched, but it was in my runner-up category. The Diplomat.
Oh, yeah. It's with Kerry
Russell.
Matthew Rhys's wife.
Exactly. That was my
co-star in The Americans, where their romance blossomed.
That's right. And in this show, where
they left their spouses and went off together.
Right.
That's another story. But that's
another story.
That's another story.
This is it's on Netflix, I believe.
Yep.
Right, Netflix.
Yep.
She is a diplomat, and working in Washington, and she is given the job to become, I'm probably telling this a bit wrong, basically the ambassador to England because of some deaths and such. And her husband, played by Rufus Sewell, I think that's his name.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I love that guy too. He's been in a bunch of things. And
Man in the High
he's
Castle,
always great. Man in the High Castle.
which I didn't care for, but
he was also in. I loved it, and he was also in the jousting movie.
oh yeah. That's right. The first night. Oh, no, was it called
Last Night? First Night?
No, First Night, Last Night.
Something night.
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale.
He's really good, and so he is a former. I think he's a former ambassador, a former diplomat of some sort, and he's just the husband of the diplomat, and he's still got some what push and pull in the game. And while they're in England, changing, her becoming this new person or new job, things go awry. She's got to calm the tensions down and solve this big thing.
And we're drinking rye, so that's good.
We are drinking rye, right? Good, very good. And it's dealing with Russians, and it's dealing with diplomacy and lots of different factions, and it's really done well. And the other part of it is that their relationship between Kerry Russell and Rufus Sewell, husband and wife, they're basically going to get divorced, but they can't get divorced now because they're she's in this high profile position, and so they have to kind of make it work, or at least on the face of it make it work when they're in England. And she doesn't want to rely on him, even though he's got a much bigger background in this kind of stuff than her. And he knows the president, she doesn't know the president. It's really done well. I hope it comes back, because I think it could be. Because it's not necessarily a cops and robbers shoot 'em up show at all. It's really about diplomacy. So I really liked it, and I love the Americans, and she's one of them.
There you go. That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any of it, so
I liked it. Your turn.
My turn. Let me see. Well, there's a show that came out during the year. Again, going back to our boys, the Mr. Ryan and Mr. Greenwald. They've been singing its praises, so I've been giving it a shot this week. I'm 4 episodes in. I really like it. Daisy Jones and the Six, which I think is sort of like I guess it's sort of a Fleetwood Mac kind of story.
Correct.
So it's pretty good. I mean, it's a little cheesy, but I got to say the music scenes are fantastic. I really like Riley Keough.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the daughter. Is she the daughter or the granddaughter of Elvis Presley?
That's right.
Right.
Yep, granddaughter.
She's really good. I mean, I've seen her in a couple things, and I'll tell you, for a Nepo baby, she's a damn good actor. She's damn good. She's really, really good. Did you ever see The Girlfriend Experience?
I did not.
The first season she was in, it was really good. It was really, really good. I would say go back, and if you have time, if you're into it, watch it. It's pretty good. But anyway, she's very good. The guys that are in the band are really good. And what's cool, what kind of wins you over is when they have the studio scenes where you see them, like, because there's like a little friction. There's like this band, they're going by the Dunn brothers, and they're okay. They've got a lead singer. He's pretty good. They're getting a contract. Of course, the lead singer, they moved out to California with all the, the whole band, and then his girlfriend. The girlfriend gets pregnant. They get married. He's not very into this being a father thing because it was very unplanned. Mm-hmm. So he gets a little bit of an alcohol and drug dependency issue, goes to rehab, all this kind of stuff. So the band kind of is a little bit washed up, but they get this one record before he goes to rehab. They've got this one guy who's kind of he was like I don't know, like a Phil Spector type.
Yeah.
But he's been kind of down on his luck. He's had a couple of bombs. So he's trying to find that next big act. So he gives this band a shot. And, it doesn't go great because of all these problems. But then there's the Riley Keough character who wants to be a songwriter. And he hears her sing and he really likes her, but doesn't really like the songs. And somehow puts these two together. and there's friction because he wants to have his band.
Yeah.
He wants to be the lead guy. She comes in, everybody loves her, but it's like the friction, and then just when you see like the magic happen in the studio and on stage, when there's like this undeniable chemistry. I mean, I'm only 4 episodes in. I could see where it's going.
The Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, it's kind of cool the way it's done too, because it's like 20 years later, and then they're going back and doing a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're talking about it. Oh, and then this song came out, and all this kind of stuff. So it's really good the way it's done. It's fun. Plus the way it's shot. It's got that 70s look. With a lot of like the light and all that. It's kind of fun so far. The songs aren't great though, I have to say. But the show itself is actually pretty entertaining so far.
Excuse me. My wife watched it and she actually read. It's based on a book, right?
Yes, correct.
I think she liked the book a lot, and I think she said that the story follows the book pretty well. I think.
Well, they had like almost 10 hours to make it work. So
yeah, right.
They had like 9 hours to make it right. So I mean, if you really want to do a book properly, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, I'm curious to see where it goes. I mean, I kind of get an idea where it's going to go, but still, it's all in the execution. I don't really care about the ending.
So you're not finished with it?
No, I'm only 4 episodes in.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
So
that's a little music thing. I don't really have any music connected series on my list here. So
should we maybe just go down each of our lists and just kind of, because we're running almost 2 hours here.
Yeah. So when do we work from where we work upwards? Because I know where we're going to end up. I know where we're going to end up at.
Right. Do you want to just go with the stuff we didn't talk about? The major,
a few things. Maybe one.
We might have to go into in depth. Just kind of to rattle them off on the list.
Yeah. So maybe because I have a lot here, so I'm going to go
bottom to top. Go from bottom to top.
Yeah. So Never Have I Ever on Netflix, which was I believe it's the last. That was also a last season one. That's Mindy Kaling's.
Yeah, I don't think I got that far.
So it's Mindy Kaling's kind of story about her high school years,
right? To
some extent, about an Indian American kid growing up and being really smart and trying to deal with high school life and love and losing her. Well, this is Mindy's life mini story, but her father passes away, and so her mom has to kind of be the single mom and deal with all that.
I love the mom. She's like my favorite character.
She's great. She's so good. Yeah,
and
I like.
Pretty cool
I love her grandmother's funny. Her cousin's funny. And she's funny, and her friends are funny. It's a really sweet show too, and a little dark and a little fun, a little scary sometimes. I think I like the ending, and the great comedy part of it is that it's narrated by John McEnroe, which makes no sense at all, right? Yeah. Let's see. Never After. Mrs. Davis. I'm actually not finished with it yet. I'm almost finished.
How is it? I tried to watch.
It's wacky and weird, and I really like it.
Well, I like Betty Gilpin.
I love Betty Gilpin, and I don't think I appreciated her in what was the wrestling show called? Glow?
Oh, yeah, Glow. She was great in Glow. I thought she was awesome.
Was great, but I didn't appreciate
Glow
because I don't think she had this part of her character. She wasn't really doing a lot of comedy.
No, she was very.
She is really funny.
Yeah.
In Mrs. Davis, she's really, really funny. I
don't have Peacock anymore, so I can't watch it.
Yeah, I'm almost finished with it. I had Jack Ryan on there, season 4, and I don't know if that's the last season of Jack Ryan.
I haven't watched that. I have to go back to that.
That's what's his name? The guy from The Office.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I don't know.
Yeah, that guy.
John
Krasinski, married to Emily Blunt.
And then, of course, there is the great. What's his name? Oh, God damn it! What's his name?
Bunk. Yeah, that guy.
Damn it! Because I just watched him. Because I binged all of Suits over the summer.
He's in that.
He's in Suits, and I gotta say, he's the best. He's the best actor on the show.
Wow.
He is. I mean, it's a good show. It's a fun show. It's a silly show, but Bunk is great. What the hell?
Wendell
Oh,
Pierce.
Wendell Pierce.
Wendell Pierce.
I love Wendell Pierce. Wendell
Yeah,
Pierce is
and
awesome.
Michael Kelly's in it, and he's really good too.
Mm.
Who was in Game of Cards and House of Cards and Game of Cards. I enjoyed it. You know, it's that Jack Ryan story. You know,
Okay.
it's not. You
I'll
know,
give
you're
it a shot
trying
at some point.
to save the world.
Right.
This is. I think I don't know if it's the end of it or not. The morning show on Apple TV,
Didn't watch
season
it.
3, very good. Not Jack. John Hamm's in it this season, and it's kind of an Elon Musk guy. Does it very well. Lessons in Chemistry, I highly recommend it. Don't remember
Okay.
that girl's name. She's in the Marvel shows.
Yeah, she's Captain Marvel, right?
Captain Marvel. I really enjoyed it.
She's in the Nissan commercials. Don't forget that.
She drives fast. Yep.
Yeah.
Platon. I wanted to mention this in the list of LA shows. Platonic with Seth Rogen and.
Oh, was it good?
Oh, it's funny as hell. It's so funny, and it's about two people who were friends in high school or been friends forever. Rose Byrne, who were friends forever, and then she goes off and gets married and has kids, and he kind of just meanders in life and starts a brewery. Still dresses like he's dressing in 1992, and they get back together as friends, and comedy ensues, and it's very fun.
Okay.
They've
worked together before, so I think they're friends. It's my guess.
What are they working?
They did some movie, Neighbors, which I think was like, remember the John Belushi movie from way back in the day?
Yeah.
I think
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I think they were like husband and wife in that. Yeah.
They
did a couple, Neighbors 1, Neighbors 2.
She, to me, is like Rose Byrne.
She is Rose Byrne.
She is Rose Byrne. Like Betty Gilpin.
Oh, okay.
She's very fun. She's very funny. She's a very good comedic actress.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This is an under the radar one. I found this by accident on Prime.
Speak to me.
It's called Deadlock. Deadloch.
As in dead, like lake?
Dead Lake. And it's about a small community in Australia. So it's Australian production. And you would not know any of the actors. This community is almost all female. And there is a series of murders, and it's a cop, you know, and the lead is a woman, a female cop. And
wait, it's Australian? I thought you said it was in Scotland.
No, it's in Australia.
Oh, okay.
It's called Deadlock.
Okay.
Yeah. And it is funny, and she has a partner. She's given a partner who she doesn't want to be a partner with, and the partner's hilarious. Who, you know, she wears flip flops and doesn't really have a toothbrush to her name, but she's a brilliant cop, and you know, wants to solve this crime in 2 seconds. And the lead cop, she's more methodical, and you know, we have to take this slow and easy. So it's kind of a buddy cop thing, except they're not buddies. It's very good, very funny, and I highly recommend it. And I was actually surprised it showed up on a few lists as for the best shows of the year.
Oh, okay.
Sex Education season 4. I think that was it's the last season on Netflix. Okay. With what's her name from X-Files?
Gillian
Anderson. I enjoyed the show from beginning to end. It's teen sex education in high school, right. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger about sex and relationships, and very good. And I don't know if it's coming back or not. Now we're getting into good stuff. What We Do in the Shadows, season 5.
I got to get back to that too. I dropped off after the second half of the year. I don't know what happened.
It was so good, and I hear that there's only going to be one more season. I just announced that, so season 6 is coming, and then that's it. We've talked about it before. It's just, what's his name?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, that guy. It's such a funny show. And Matt Berry is just so damn funny.
Everybody's going on that show. It's a great cast. It's a really one. It's a fantastic cast.
Jump in whenever you feel like. The Gold. I just watched that on Paramount Plus. I told you about this.
Yes.
With the guy who is also River in Slow Horses. It's based on a true story in England in the 1970s or 80s.
It's a gold heist.
It's a gold heist, but it wasn't going to be a gold heist. This group, 6 people, go in to rob a safety deposit box at a bank, but they're going in thinking they're going to steal $26 million in cash, and there's no cash. It's only gold. So they have to somehow get the gold out, and it's like, 2 pallets of gold. And then what do you do? And then what do you do with it? And it actually was a pretty big case because it's the beginning, because the money gets the way the robbers, what they do is they actually take the money and they invest it into like real estate, and they convert it into cash, and then they spend the cash. So there's no cash to find, right? And the gold is gone. So it really was the beginning for at least international policing and investigation into international money laundering. And it's a really interesting story.
Interesting.
And it's a really good cast of.
Hey, give me your Paramount Plus login. I'll watch it.
I'll do that for you. Yes. Jury Duty on Prime.
Is it good?
It's great. And it's one of those feel-good stories when you figure out what the hell's going on. It took me actually a few episodes to understand what was happening. It is a fake court jury situation.
Right.
Completely all actors except for one person. The production company put an ad in the paper and found someone to go on to jury duty. They put a fake notice in for jury. I think that's how they got this person. And he is put on this jury, is not an actor. And he is thrown into this thing for some, I can't remember what the case is. And he is with these guys like sequestered in a hotel. And one of the people on the jury
James Marsden, isn't it?
Is James Marsden, and he's actually James Marsden,
right.
And it is hilarious. And this guy, and he gets $100,000, I think, at the end for getting through this thing when it's revealed that he's been part of this whole. I don't know how they can do this ever again now that it's been done once.
Time to plug and unplug.
Oh, hold on one sec.
Yeah.
Hold on there, folks.
Yeah, his mic is a little wonky. He's got a wonky mic. Unmute.
I'm back.
All right, there you go.
Little technical issue. But Jury Duty is really fun, and it deserves all the wacky plaudits that it's.
Okay. All right. Well, wait, hold on a second. So this guy doesn't know he's in a fake jury, but what about cameras and stuff? How did they explain that?
So the very last.
Did they say it's a documentary or something?
He thinks he's in a real jury. He thinks he's in a real courthouse. He thinks he's doing this. This is all. Everyone in the whole cast is an actor except for him.
Right.
In the very last episode, they actually go behind the scenes and they show where they put all the cameras. And there were times when
hidden.
Yes, it's
what they do with the mics. What they do with the mics? They have mics in the ceiling.
I don't remember. They're everywhere. And there were times where it got close where he was, oh my God, he's going to figure it out, and he doesn't. And he's not a dumb guy. He's like I think his job in life was like he's selling installing solar roof panels here in California. Another California show, LA show.
Wow, it helps. And the studios are there.
He stayed as a friend with these guys. He didn't become an actor. Apparently, he's staying doing his. I think he's kind of like living the life a little bit now that he's got some little bit of a notoriety. Him and Marsden are buddies now, and Marsden is so damn good at this as he's like an over-the-top version of himself, and playing like I'm like the better than you actor, but it's really good, really fun. Only Murders in the Building season 3. Can't say enough about the show. It was number 9 on my list. Steve Martin Short. This year was also
Meryl
Streep. What's the girl's name in the show? Damn
it, we are awful.
Only
she had a cooking show, right?
Yes. Selena Gomez.
And they also have, what's his name? Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's in this season. Andrea Martin's in this season.
It's
amazing. It's really great, and it's funny. And I can't, to have these kinds of big actors kind of doing this kind of stuff, I just think it's just wonderful. And Meryl Streep she's just a
Meryl
great
Streep.
actress.
She's
She's
Meryl
Meryl
Streep.
Streep, right?
Yeah, she's
Meryl
pretty
Streep.
good. She's okay.
She's okay.
She's okay.
Poker Face. Loved
It's on
it.
my list.
You gotta watch that, man. That is so good.
I did. I watched it.
You did watch it. Oh,
I did. I did.
Throwback to the 1970s, like Columbo, where each episode is its own.
She was
except
great.
it does have an overarching kind of story
Yes.
that's also going on.
Right.
But each episode is kind of its own own mystery. And
Best episode of that series. What was the best episode?
I like the barbecue one.
I like the what's it called episode? I think the Judith Light episode.
The community acting one
at the senior living place.
Oh, that's so good.
That is the best episode, and it was great because they had what?
Who is that? Who's the two actresses? Chloe Sevigny.
It was Judith Light, right?
Oh, Judith Light. That's right, Judith Light.
And it was because she was in the menu, right? And then they had the guy that played her husband in the menu was also in this episode as well.
He was? Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah. He was in that too. So it was kind of a neat little callback, I guess, just for that.
It
was great because it was a lot of fun.
It's a lot like the like those shows of the 70s where you had one special guest in every episode, right?
Yep.
So Chloe Sevigny's in one.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman's in an episode, although he's something else.
He's the mobster, right? He's a big mobster guy.
He's he's the mobster, right?
Who? Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt, a part of the bigger story. Adrian Brody.
And the Brody's in the first episode. He was great.
Yeah. So really fun show. And you had Natasha Lyonne is just
she was tremendous.
Great.
She was perfect. She was perfect. She was the female Peter Falk. She was absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Yes. My last one before we get to the last one, and then your list.
The last one
is the last season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Final season, great season, wrapped up in a really interesting way. The way they did a flash forward about her future and the future of her and the other lead character and her children, which you see as little kids in the show, and then later on you see them as adults. And how it was really a love story between her and her Susie, her agent, and how they get estranged at one point in her career, and then they come back together at the very end, which is really beautiful. I just thought that was just great writing, great comedy writing, just a great show. And Rachel Brosnahan was, I think for me, she's the lead best for the Emmy. She should get lead actress in a comedy series.
Okay. But all right.
So there you go. Until we're ready for the last one.
You want me to just blast? I'll blast up on this from bottom.
Last two. I was a little bit too wordy. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're fine. You're good. It was all good. All right. So okay, we talked about Justified, Ted Lasso, Beef, Hijack, Poker Face, Bupkis, Fool. I think I covered just about. Full Circle was interesting. What's that? A Steven Soderbergh that like eight.
Oh yeah. You
told me
like
series. With I think Randy Quaid's in it and Zazie Beetz and Claire Danes and our boy Timothy Oliphant. Yeah. It was wacky, but it was pretty good. I mean, I like Soderbergh. I'll watch just about anything the guy does. So it was an interesting show. It was a little confusing. There were a couple weird things in it. What's his name is in it? Who's that? Jim Gaffigan is in it in like a serious role. And he was actually really good. He was actually very good. So it was an interesting show. It was convoluted. It was a little weird, but it was good. Full Circle, Lupin, we talked about. Somebody Somewhere, Dave, Daisy Jones and the Six, Reservation Dogs, Last of Us, Party Down, Perry Mason, Slow Horses, Succession. So there's only one thing left. There's only one thing left.
I'm going to pour another.
And we talked about it. We talked about it with our fine friend, Lisa.
I'm going to take another whiskey before we do this last one.
Okay. You need a drink before this one?
So my last
Don't drive your car through the house, whatever you do.
Yeah. So I'm torn between my two.
Your top one? You mean your number one show of the year?
It's not even my number one whiskey. It's not really my number one whiskey. It's just that I'm just torn between which one to take. I am going to pour. I actually haven't had it for a while. The Milam and Green Unabridged.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
And it's a hot one, 117 proof,
That's
right?
a good one. Yep.
And
Go big or go home.
This is our friend Heather Green and Marlene. What's Marlene's last name?
Damn it. We're the worst. We're the worst.
We're the worst. Marlene Green, small Texas.
Heather and Marlene. Let's just leave it at Heather and Marlene.
We'll live with that. They're in outside Waco,
Blanco,
Austin, right?
Blanco, Texas, outside of Austin.
Well, right, that's right. And we've been lucky enough from the Big Thirst marketing people to be on a few of their PR discussions, release
Zoom meetings,
and when there's Zoom meetings, and Heather has been out here in LA a few times, and I gotten to see her. She's a pro, right? Yep. Marlene was the head distiller Jim Beam for 20 years or so. These are pros. They're making great. They're sourcing some whiskey. They're making their own, and they are doing some interesting finishes. The rye that we had one that was finished in a port barrel, wasn't that one that?
Well, that's their what do you want to call it? Their not standard issue, but their main line, right?
Flagship. They do some beautiful whiskeys. And can only imagine Holmes, that's right, Holmes, Merlin. Really just beautiful stuff. We are lucky that we are been graced with their whiskeys on our table. So cheers to the Marlene Green ladies and team. All right, go for it, my friend.
Big show.
Number one of the year. The booze dance. Yeah. By the way, before we do this, we have to say the three legs of this stool is missing a leg tonight.
We're a little rickety. We
are wobbling.
We're hanging by a thread. We're wobbling.
We are hanging by a thread. We are wobbling.
Wait, you know what? We're like weebles. We wobble, but we don't fall down.
We don't fall down. That's true. Our compadre tonight, Michael, is not here with us tonight. He is unavailable, and so we don't know how many Marvel shows and DC shows would have been on this list, but there would have been some.
There would have been a lot. I'm not watching them anymore. I'm done.
But we cheers to Michael and Happy New Year to him. He is the person that you see on all those the voice you hear on all those reviews with Angelo at the murder table.
What do we got?
Yeah. What do we got? And unfortunately, he can't be here. We got whiskey.
We like whiskey. We like cocktails.
So Michael's not here tonight. So cheers to him and Happy New
Year's, Mike.
So number one, our best, your favorite and my favorite, and since we're 2/3 of this crap house,
and since Mike hasn't seen it, so therefore he's out on this one.
It's 100%. So this is going to be the what we watch when we drink number one TV show of the year 2023. I think we can say that.
The Bear season 2.
It's the Bear season 2.
I don't think it's any surprise. I think it's made a lot of top lists. Well, you know what though? It was a toss-up though. For me, it was a toss-up between The Bear and Succession. It was really, really close. It was really
on the lists that I've seen. It's been The Bear and Succession and The Last of Us. Those are the three that I've seen probably the most of.
Yeah, and I can't argue with that. I mean, that's three solid shows. I mean, you could have your preferences, but it was three. I'm not saying The Last of Us was quite at that tier, but those are my top two: Succession and The Bear.
I've talked about The Bear a lot recently.
We've talked about The Bear a lot, and we talked about it with Lisa Zambetti.
We've talked with Lisa Zambetti, who is an actual casting director. I've talked about it with friends. My daughter and I just rewatched the Christmas episode, the Fishes episode from this year.
It's technically the Christmas Eve episode.
It's Christmas. Well, we watched it on Christmas Eve. That will be, I think, will be my Christmas show every year. Like some people watch Elf, some people watch A Christmas Carol. Or what the hell is the one with Jimmy Stewart?
What's Wonderful Life?
Wonderful Life. I will be watching the fishes
Are you
episode.
going to make a nice branzino with the fishes?
I'm making a nice branzino and 6 other fishes and maybe some Sprite.
Okay, but you got to make your own Sprite.
I can make my own Sprite. Where do we begin on this show?
I think we've talked about it ad nauseum, but
we have. But again, it's a show of great character development, great individual performances.
Well, I think when we had Lisa on, I described it as almost like the Empire Strikes Back episode, and it is the second season, so it's a nice correlation. But it was the the band splits apart. They all go their separate ways. They kind of learn their things. Sydney's doing her thing.
Yeah.
And Marcus is doing his thing. And what's her name? What was the Latin? No, the Latino woman in the kitchen.
Yeah, I know.
She's
Elena?
fantastic. But she's going. She's doing her thing.
Yeah.
And then they all come back together. Tina's doing her thing. Richie goes off on his own to gather his skills, and then they all come back for the grand finale.
Yep.
So, and there's a little bit of a backstory too. So.
Yeah, so you can argue that it's a better season than the first season. First seasons are always like, the one you have that you loved. That's like the first album. You love the first album more than the second album. The second album usually aren't so great.
Yeah.
The second album here is pretty good, pretty damn good.
It's excellent.
And for all the things you just said, it's a touching show. It's a dark show. It's a show with so much depth. It's scary. They incorporated some really big stars. We talked about this with Lisa. Into a couple episodes, and you and I loved it. I think most people loved it. Lisa didn't love it. But
the fishes episode.
The fish episode.
Yeah, I loved it, but the episode after that was better for me personally.
Forks
is awesome.
Well, we can say that the boys on the Ringer, the Watch, they said the Forks
was their episode of the year.
Episode of the year. Now, and I might be able to argue that those 2 episodes are my 2 favorite episodes of TV of the year. I probably would say that. Boy, I think that's probably true. And I'm my goal is to watch Forks again. I think I've watched the Christmas episode 5 times.
Wow.
And I think I've watched Forks 3 times.
Well, see, as an Italian, as an Italian, not even Italian American, the fishes episode is a little triggering for me. So
I understand that. I'm not, I would say, so when you've listened to Chris Storer, the showrunner, talk about that episode, I think it's a little more universal than being Italian American.
Oh yeah, no, I know,
right?
That's like everything.
And we've all been in those. Well, not maybe that specifically, but those really high intensity family gatherings.
As I like to say, F is for family.
That's right. That's right. F is for family. And whether it's a Hanukkah gathering, a birthday party for a little kid,
a bar mitzvah, a communion, a baptism, whatever.
It does not matter. When you put
by
all that
the way,
together.
I don't think it's a coincidence that all those murders took place at the communion in The Godfather. Just saying. Just saying. There might be a correlation there.
Do you renounce the devil, Michael?
Yes, I do.
I do. Why not? Yes.
Sure.
What am I going to say? No? The priest.
Meanwhile, there's somebody getting shot in the eye.
Mal Green. So I think boy, this show just kind of boggles me. There's so much to say. I would have never guessed that this show from the beginning, from episode 1 or 2 from the first season, would have become this show.
Yeah.
It was a show about a little sandwich shop. I know it wasn't about a show about a sandwich shop, but it seemed like a show about a sandwich shop and how the sandwich shop's going to survive. Right. Well, season 2 is completely.
And I got to go there this year. I went to the sandwich shop.
And so did my wife and daughter, and they loved it.
It was delicious.
Yeah, they loved
it.
Great.
It was real. It was Chicago.
And this show is so much more than that. And I know that was the intent.
Right.
and we didn't see it maybe in the beginning a year ago, 2 years ago. And now it's, oh my God, this show is so much more than that. And it's really powerful. It's family, it's relationships within in a business organization, and it's character development, and it's personal development, and talking about Richie, everybody, how much people have grown or changed. It's really, really amazing. It's just really great television. I think that's maybe
it's a lot of fun. And again, as I said during the least episode, they stepped it up all around in the second season, from the photography to the music to the to the record to the needle drops, the
I
whole
think,
thing. Everything just
and
was kicked up a notch, but in a good way.
it,
Not so
well,
much.
I think it's in a good way, but also it's building.
It's a
You're
natural
building
progression.
It's a progression. It's
As
you're building
opposed to
this.
what you were saying about, what was the show we were talking about with the action scenes where they built up the set pieces, like in Lupin, where they have to just keep
Yes,
making
yeah.
it bigger. But in this case, it was more of a, this is the next step.
They're building a restaurant.
Right.
You are making something. You are making something from nothing.
Right.
From this little nothing
Right.
to something. So you're seeing a progression from the forks are cleaner, the music is better, the whites are whiter, everything is more, and
Right.
in a logical way.
And most importantly, Richie wears suits now.
And Richie wears suits. Yes, Richie wears suits. Just love this show. Love this show. And I cannot tell you how many times I've recommended it. And there's people I know that have never heard of it. And it almost is bothersome that they don't know about the show.
Yeah, I think everyone that I've recommended it to, I don't think anyone's come back disappointed.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's come back like, oh, that show was horrible.
No,
it's just a good time.
It's so good. And it also, I should add this is the first season, but in the show in general, again, we're talking about an overall picture here. It introduced me to Maddie Matheson.
Yeah, he's great.
Who I did not know at all before this. I thought he was an actor. I did not know he had a other career.
Yeah.
And someone told me about his background. Yeah. And I haven't dug too deep except into like his Instagram and a little bit on his website.
His YouTube is insane.
It is nuts. It is insane. And one of my goals with my daughter is to make the Italian beef sandwiches.
You can do it. You can make a brisket. You can make Italian beef.
Yeah. And we're going to do it, but we're going to do it like Maddie did it on his YouTube.
Oh, Jesus. With Chris Dora's sister, who was
we've invited her. And we plan to make it destroy our kitchen at the same time, because that's what'll happen. So
we should fly Zambetti down.
Fly Zambetti down, and we'll make some sandwiches. Yeah. Well, this was really fun. We went through a lot of television tonight.
Oh my God, yeah, 2 hours and 17 minutes, man.
2:17, and
which is not symmetrical, by the way.
So no, it's not, but it is a prime number.
No, it's not. You could divide it by 7.
217. Oh, you're right. You can. 31.
It's all
yeah, very good. Really fun. This was a great year for us at Booze Dancing. We can't thank enough all the people that watch us on our live shows, listen to the podcast, turn into all the reviews you guys do online, and the few things that we still put on in written word online and on the website. And we can't thank enough all of our guests that we've had over the year.
Oh yeah, it's been good.
We've had so many great guests this year.
It's been a good year.
Dave Minton, Lisa Zambetti, Dean Kaplan. Who else have we had? Andre Darlington.
Our dear friend Joanne McGinnis.
Joanne McGinnis, the Whiskey Lassie.
Don Davies.
Don Davies from
Don Davis.
Don Davis from the Whiskey Exchange. Joshua Hatton. Who else have we had on the show?
We had Joe and Tripp from Barrel.
Joe and Tripp from Barrel Bourbon.
Barrelcraft Spirits.
Barrelcraft Spirits.
Mike Zampino.
Mike Zampino from Miramax. We've had some big heavy hitters on this show.
That's a lot of fun.
We will continue next year to have just as many, hopefully, and bring you guys the amazing Technicolor quality programming that you expect from Booze Dancing.
That's right.
That's right. Our first guest in January will be Shohei Ohtani. We are just bringing that out right now. It's not.
Do we have to pay him $2 million?
It's Shohei Ohtani.
And do we have to defer $48 million?
It's Shohei Ohtani, not Ohtani. We can't get Shohei Ohtani.
Wait, can we get the new guy? Can we get Yamamoto?
We can maybe get Yoshimuro Yamamoto. Is that his name? I can't think of it. It's Yamamoto. I can't think of it.
You are the worst Dodger fan ever.
I'm very bad at Japanese. We have some big names lined up. That's all I gotta say.
I hope so.
I hope so. Thank you again, and I hope you have a very merry, happy New Year. And we hope all of our folks out there in Booze Dancing Network land have an equally wonderful, healthy, happy New Year. And keep on drinking, and keep on drinking responsibly, and keep on watching some TV and movies.
Yes, everything you said.
Right. What we watch when we drink, live on the 363rd, still the 363rd night of the year. We are done, I think, right?
Play us out. We're done. I'll play us out. I'm going to run the credits.
All righty. Good night, everybody. Happy New Year.
Cheers.
Cheers.